In the beginning, men stood on the eastern shores of our land and looked westward. They lived, they loved, they fought and died. They tilled the fields, they tended the animals, and they moved west. But some stayed at home and watched those resolute pioneers as they flung back the frontiers and turned the prairie sod. Gradually, they tamed that wild grassland. They brought in crops and fed those who had stayed behind. And they were called giants. Strong men, giants against a setting sun. It is still a land of giants, a land where bigness is a way of life, and only the strong survive. It is the homeland of the very new and powerful gentle giants, partners in power, Oliver and Moline. Minneapolis-Moline has long been a leader in high horsepower tractors. With the introduction of the G1355, they have reaffirmed their determination to offer farmers the most dependable, unique workhorse the farm country has ever been offered. Moline has always been known as the big-hearted tractor, and none has ever beat harder than this mighty power plant. It's available in LP gas at 135 PTO horsepower, or this thumping 137 horsepower diesel, coming from 585 hard-working cubes. The Big Quiet diesel has special combustion chambers that give you the exclusive MAN system of layered burning to ensure you utilize every drop of fuel you pay for. With Minneapolis-Moline, you're getting one of the longest-running engines in the farm world. Massive cast iron means you have solid construction, and the 2200 governed RPMs stretch engine life into extra innings. And to be sure you get all that dependable horsepower and long life to the ground, year after year, there's a brutal 14-inch clutch that can take as much punishment as anyone can dish out. Still, the best engine and the toughest clutch are just so much scrap iron, without a transmission built for this kind of revolutionary machine. Just by itself, the Oliver Moline transmission is pretty impressive. The constant mesh helical gears are all carburized and hardened, offering you 6 speeds forward and 2 in reverse. Now, if that sounds standard, remember, that's without our exclusive on-the-go hydraul shift. The hydraul shift gives you 20% extra with just a flick of a lever, a lower range, an intermediate range, and a higher range in every single gear. Now listen carefully. That means you get 18 good working speeds and 6 reverse speeds. Find that on any other tractor. In fact, Oliver Moline is the only manufacturer that offers all this in over 100 horsepower tractors. Continuous testing ensures reliability of the hydraul shift, which has revolutionized tractor operation. Even manufacturers who've tried to copy the system haven't figured out how to duplicate this wide range of flexibility. Here you are in a normal disking situation. Got a chance to make some time? Downhill, say. Shift on the go into the high range and take off 20% faster. Along the bottom, center the lever and you're back to normal for that gear. Maybe the soil gets tough, starts to pull you down, or there's a hill to climb. Drop the lever into the low range. No clutching, no fuss. 20% more pull at your fingertips. Now watch what happens at the end of a field with a giant disc harrow. Just move the hydraul lever into its lower position, and around you go. Full working RPMs all the way. No clutching, no loss of hydraulics, and no engine lugging. Smooth variable power whenever you need it. With a package that impressive, you're probably thinking they don't make rear axles strong enough to handle all that power and fast shifting. You'd be right, too, if this was an ordinary tractor. But there's never been an ordinary mini-mow, so naturally, this one isn't either. Fact is, heavy earth mover manufacturers found out a long time ago that normal powertrains just couldn't take it. Final drives tore all to pieces. Their answer? Put the final reduction out in the hub and let the axles float. That's what Oliver Moline has done. This way, the massive weight rests on the axle housings, not the axles. Best estimates are you won't wear this final drive out in an average tractor lifetime. Of course, other manufacturers will tell you you can't adjust wheels with floating axles. Bunk. The G1355's rear wheels adjust from 61 to 91 inches. What's more, you can adjust the wheels right from the driver's seat. No jacking, just adjusting when and where you need it. Incidentally, with all this power working for you, and with a lot of weight to control, you'd want brakes that are way above normal. Well, Oliver Moline has them. These triple disc brakes are real brutes. They're engineered for years of dependable, no-fade stopping power. Speaking of power, you haven't heard about the Oliver Moline hydraulics. There's a Category 2 and 3 hitch that's got a 6,000-pound lift, 24 inches behind the hitch. That means you can operate the biggest farm implements made today or tomorrow. And it's controlled with a closed center constant pressure hydraulic system. That means extra lift and instant response even at low engine speeds. Naturally, the PTOs are independently controlled, hydraulically. Now you can feather the PTO, ease power on gradually to get the implement up to speed slowly. But it's even more versatile than that, as you can imagine. 1,000 RPM is the norm these days, so that's standard. But with the addition of this optional shaft and a minute or two, you can have your choice of 540 RPMs or engine speed if you want to operate irrigation equipment or turn a generator for the next church picnic. So there it is, the gentle giant from Minneapolis Moline. True, there's a lot more we could say about it, but we want to talk about another giant, the gentle one from Oliver. And we can, too, without missing anything, because the 2255 has every single feature of the Minneapolis Moline, but with different power options and running gear. So let's talk about the Oliver for a while, and you'll discover why it's the most revolutionary tractor made today. Farming is big business, and the agribusinessman wants an office that gives him plenty of comfort. Well, Oliver's optional silent safety cab, an office with 2 doors as standard equipment, is a star performer. Little things are important, like these platform mounting pads. To be really soundproof, you've got to protect against noise coming through the floor. Oliver Moline engines are engineered for quiet running, but drivetrain noise can still enter if the platform isn't protected against vibration. But that's not all. The cab itself is 2-stage sound and shock mounted. Vibration and noise are all but a thing of the past. Compare the Oliver Moline cab with any other on the market, and we believe you'll feel as we do that this is the quietest cab available, no matter how much noise other manufacturers might make. Take a look at the outside. See anything different? Right. The air conditioner is factory installed to do away with that tacked-on look so many cabs have these days. Even the compressor is tucked away, safe from harm. The controls are right overhead, easy to reach. And look at this. See this warning light? It comes on if chaff or dust or what have you plugs the air intake. No chance of burning up your air conditioner, as happens in so many other units. Look at the size of this air filter. It's easy to get at and has plenty of surface area to do a lot of filtering before it has to be cleaned or replaced. We were the first with a tilting wheel many years ago, so it comes as no surprise we've got the most sophisticated steering wheel in the industry. Sure, it has full tilting abilities, but it also telescopes, so you can adjust it to your arm length. But the cab's most important feature is its safety. It has rollover protection. The state of California has approved this cab, and they've got the most stringent safety rules in the nation to date. Another important feature, you never have any difficulty hiring extra help when they hear you have an Oliver Moline cab to drive in. Most manufacturers simply sell you an adapter when you want dual wheels. Bolt one wheel outside the other and off you go. Result, wheel slippage. You've got your flotation, but no weight. Oliver Moline has a different method. With these tractors, you get a massive hub. Not only is it fully adjustable for width, but you end up with as much extra weight as you'll ever need to keep the power where you want it, on the ground. Where does that power come from? Probably the best known, most dependable power plant in the world today. Caterpillar. That's right. Oliver put a 573 cubic inch Caterpillar V8 under the hood to offer farmers the finest diesel power we could find. What's more, it can deliver 145 PTO horsepower. You won't find this anywhere else, exclusive Caterpillar two-ring pistons. They hold down cylinder wall wear, increase power, and reduce fuel consumption. But that isn't where the unique design stops. The engine is equipped with direct injection. This, coupled with the piston design, results in greater fuel turbulence and more efficient burning. With the Oliver, you have a greatly reduced exhaust emission. You won't see great clouds of black smoke coming from this quiet cat. Just to make sure your new Caterpillar engine gets the purest air there is to breathe, a special system has been installed which will pre-clean the air, get the dirt out before it ever gets to the filter element. Using a special Venturi action, the muffler literally sucks the dirt out of the air intake and blows it from the exhaust stack. All that ever gets to your air cleaner are a few dust particles which are easily stopped by the primary element. As unique as the engine is, Oliver Moline still isn't finished offering farmers unheard-of features. Every power class offered by Oliver Moline is available in either two-wheel or four-wheel drive models. That means, as a farmer, you have 24 models of tractors to choose from. With that kind of a choice, you shouldn't have any trouble finding the just right tractor for your needs, whether it's a four-wheel drive hauler or a row crop tractor with a full row crop clearance. Now, a lot of manufacturers sell what they call row crop models, but we all know there's some fudging going on. Either that or they're making crops higher these days. When we say row crop, we mean row crop. You can bet our cameraman wouldn't have taken this picture if there wasn't a full 25 inches of clearance under the front axle. Now that's row crop clearance. And get this, the front axles have been re-engineered to handle these gentle but massive giants. They'll take the heaviest front-end applications you can think of, like the biggest front-end loader you can find, or all the extra weight you'll ever need for fully mounted implements. If by now you've begun to admit these two may very well be the biggest, most revolutionary tractors available to farmers today, you've probably started asking yourself, what good are tractors this big that last this long if I'm still limited to ordinary implements? And you're right. After all, you can't ask giants to work with midget-sized tools, even gentle giants. And so for this year, Oliver Moline has brought out some implements designed especially to keep up with these big-shouldered tractors. Take, for instance, the 588 Uniframe Plow. It's built to handle any plowing job you might have, like rolling furrows sweet and clean with 6 or 7 bottoms in rich black soil, or handling a really rocky field with 5 or more bottoms. This is where your choice of spring automatic reset really pays off. Of course, you can have the 588 with shear pin or cushion trip too. And you can choose from 18 or 20-inch width of cut. Probably more farmers than would like to admit have had trouble with trash in a field. Well, no problem with a 588. The truly gigantic clearances allow trash to pass through with no problem. So if you want to do more plowing in fewer passes, hook a 588 on behind your gentle giant and make plowing the best part of your farm year. When it comes to big, all you'd have to do is show your neighbor this 40-foot chisel plow. Hook most tractors onto this monster, and they couldn't move it fast enough to scratch a gopher's back. Or their hydraulics wouldn't react fast enough at low speeds to be able to maneuver it. Of course, either gentle giant handles this acre eater with ease. Probably one of the most exciting giants to be released this year is the huge 271 disc harrow, with 66 blades working for you in the 23.5-foot width. And this implement is so heavy, you don't have to worry about shredding corn stalks and trash. This monster chops it all up and plows it under. Speaking of plowing, you can even eliminate that chore under some conditions. If the 271 seemed big, take a look at the truly giant 272. It takes over where the others leave off. You can have it in 27 feet 8 inches, 30 feet 6 inches, and an incredible 33 feet 4 inches. With spring-mounted gangs, that's all the brutish harrow action you ever need to tackle the meanest fields around. A perfect partner for the gentle giants. New this year, too, is another kind of giant tractor. It's big enough to handle the toughest utility jobs around. Call it the littlest giant, the Big Little 1465. Utility may be the name, but hard work is the game for our littlest giant. It'll handle a 4 or 5 bottom plow with ease when it isn't doing those 1,001 jobs around the yard that are usually reserved for an underpowered, worn-out antique. 70 hard-working horses are turned out by this 278 cubic inch diesel. So don't let the word utility fool you. This little giant will handle power tillage, materials handling, and PTO chores without hesitation. For hydraulics, you've got a draft-controlled hitch operating from a single lever. The upper link senses even slight variations in draft and signals automatic depth adjustments as necessary. The hitch is adaptable to Category 1 and 2 implements. Standard with the 1465 is a transmission with 7 speeds forward and 2 reverse. Or you can also have a 14-speed creeper transmission if you like. Around the yard, you'll appreciate this foot accelerator and differential lock to tie the rear wheels together when you need extra traction. And you've got a fully independent 540 RPM PTO. You can start or stop the PTO without disrupting power to the transmission. Like its bigger brothers in the Oliver Moline line, the 1465 has an extremely rugged final drive with straddle-mounted bearing support for final drive gears. Power steering is standard, and the tough U-channel front axle is adjustable from 57 to 77 inches, a necessary plus for today's all-purpose utility. Because all-purpose is the real purpose of the 1465. You'll find it makes a perfect partner for either of the gentle giants from Oliver Moline. Whether that choice is the gentle green giant from Oliver with its running gear options and powerful Caterpillar engine, or the massive yellow giant from Minneapolis Moline, engineered for years of dependable service, or the littlest giant in the farm world today, you can't lose with the offerings from Oliver Moline. Take the time. Visit your local dealer. You'll understand why we say these are the most revolutionary tractors modern engineering can offer. Oliver Moline, where you can work with tomorrow's tractors on today's farm.